Okay, so when I thought about like some hacks, when Allison and I were talking about what to do, I was trying to think of the things. I was thinking about our demographic too, like a lot of the ladies here. We have a lot of 20-somethings, and then we go all the way up, and everyone asks a lot of similar questions. And the main theme is, how can I like do my makeup in the fastest way? How can I basically how can I look the best with the short amount of time of like prep? Mm-hmm. And that's hard because obviously we all know like good things take time, so it's hard. But a lot of the main questions I get, a lot of similar questions from all ages of women, is under eyes. So that's a big question. That can be like concealer, what kind, what shade of concealer do I need, whatever, all of that. So I thought, let's do like a couple hacks, and then at the end of this was actually one thing Michelle suggested. She said, why don't you do like your makeup look in 5 minutes or less? And so I thought I could tell you how to do that, or me and Grace could compete and both do our best like under 5 minutes. And then you can like take notes and watch, because I can talk all day about it, but really your speed is what's going to save you. Because if you're not fast, you can't do it under 5 minutes. So hopefully you can learn the techniques, and then you can be as fast as we are. But it does take time. So
I don't know how good I'm doing.
Okay, whatever. So to start, let me go through. We're going to start with under eyes, like I said, and then we'll move on to some, oh look, there I am, on Instagram Live from there. Yeah. So one thing I don't think people realize, actually I'm going to sit. This is too much. One thing I don't think people realize with under eyes is that your skincare is your biggest thing that's going to help you with not having like dry, crepey under eyes. And that is the biggest concern. People are like, and this will be women in their 50s. Why do I have such dry under eyes? Girls in their 20s, why are my eyes so dry? And I think the biggest, the common issue is that we all aren't doing like enough skincare, because we can't. It's really, I know it sounds cheesy, but it really is like your canvas. So if it's not a good canvas, nothing's gonna look good on it, no matter what you lay on top of it. And so I wanted to bring a couple things. People are always asking like, what is it? What are you using? So I actually, I'm sorry, they're stuck in my throat.
Explain the calm water.
The calm water? Okay, yeah. So there's this thing called hyaluronic acid, and it is basically this acid that pulls moisture in. And you'll start to, it's like really hot right now. You'll see it everywhere. There's, with watching the Olympics, there's an ad that Neutrogena has right now, and it's like a Hydra Water Boost Gel, and it has, what's her name? Olivia Pope. I can't remember her real name. Anyway, so Kerry Washington. You will see ads all right now. It's like all the rave. It's just hyaluronic acid, and basically what it does is just pulls moisture back into your skin, and so it finds water and you absorb it. So moisture is your best friend. Whether you have oily skin or dry skin, you need to be moisturizing. And I am prone to oily skin. I've always had like problematic skin. I just had my cycle, so I've had a lot of breakouts. Like no matter what, even if you are oily, you still need moisture. And I would argue if you are oily, you definitely are the one that needs more moisture, because that means your moisture is out of whack. And so if you strip your skin of all your oils and you are doing stuff that's going to dry everything out, No, you guys are a bad combination. I know, laughing. So I'm like, what's on me?
No, nothing.
So you need good skincare. That's like the biggest thing. So I brought a couple things, and I actually am going to prep these on Grace. So this first thing, it's called Calm Water Gel, and I actually got this in my influencer box. If you guys don't have influencer, you need it. It's awesome. Do you want it? Okay. Oh, hair tie. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this. But if I'm doing makeup in the morning, I'm going to prep my skin beforehand. I'm going to wash my face, biggest thing. I'm gonna wash off all the crap that, I got in the night, dirt, oil, whatever, sweat. You need to cleanse that off. And obviously the night before you need to be washing off your makeup. So you're gonna take a little bit of, after you've washed it, you're gonna moisturize it. So we've taken off her like concealer underneath, and we'll leave it on her foundation. So I just take my fingertips, go right underneath. This is just like I think like a basic moisturizer. I think you can get this at Ulta actually, but Dermalogica brand.
Will you repeat what it's called?
This is called Calm Water Gel. It says weightless water gel moisturizer, hydrates dry, sensitive skin. So it's also really good for sensitive skin. It came with this little oil. I didn't bring all my Josie stuff because it's all glass and it makes me like nervous to travel with it. But you guys know that I love Josie Maran. So this is just another oil. This is called a barrier defense. It's just funny the names they come up with stuff. Yeah, barrier defense booster. Basically, they're saying it's just boosting your moisture. Hi, Emily.
Wait, so you said you only put the calm water on gel right before?
You can do that to start. Yeah. You can do that. You can do it under your makeup. So if you didn't have any makeup on, I'd be putting this like all over your face. And if you have an eye cream, you can do the same thing with your eye cream. But the biggest thing is you need to be moisturizing your skin, and then you need to be using some sort of eye cream. Hi, Michelle. Are you fine?
Here we are. Cheryl and I are coming.
Yay! We'll just catch up. We're talking about moisture and adding moisture to your skincare routine. So we're focusing on under eyes right now. So we've used moisturizer.
Have we missed much?
Not a ton. We basically talked about what moisture really missed. So actually, we really don't use this. This is kind of overkill. So a little bit more. This is Josie Maran. It's the Milk Moisturizer, and this is just gonna. They say it just kind of penetrates a little bit more deeply into the skin. Another little tip my mom taught me: when you're doing your own, like whether it be concealer or your eye cream, use your ring finger when you apply because it's not going to exert as much pressure. These are a lot more, I guess, forceful. I don't know, but you just want to use these because it's going to be a little more gentle. The skin under your eyes is the most sensitive skin, and they say that you actually don't even have like pores right under here, but it's just the most tender. So that's why, like, when you don't get a lot of sleep, like you can see it. Your eyes are what are going to give that away. It's just a very vulnerable spot. So, okay, we've done the moisture. I actually did make a Google Doc for you guys, and I can pull my computer out and you guys can give me your emails, but I've linked all of the products that we'll talk about today. So if you want to go get them, you can. Okay, so if this were me, I'm going to be using, you guys, if you follow my Instagram, you probably hear me talk about it a lot. It's the Becca Brightening Corrector Under Eye. So I just take a little bit here, and I get most of my darkness kind of right in this part. Not so much down here, but more just right in the center. So I'm going to use that ring finger, and I'm going to pat. I'm not going to like swipe it. Just pat it under her eye. And then I'm going to I dampened this beforehand. You're going to take a damp beauty blender. Wetting your beauty blender is the best thing you can do with it. If you're using it dry, it will not work. And if you're still using it and you're like, no, it does work, it's just absorbing like all your makeup because it's a sponge essentially. So if you will, that does mean you have to wet it every time you use it. So just put it under the sink and you just kind of squeeze it until the water runs out. It will grow like a sponge. It'll get really big. This used to be a lot smaller, but so you want to dampen that. I know it kind of freaks us out to like use something wet and then put a powder like over a cream. It's like, oh, this doesn't like feel right.
It's like before.
Yeah, before it's wet. And then, so I've done that. And then I'm going to take one of my favorite concealers. It's the Shape Tape Tarte Concealer. And my shade is light neutral. So I'm going to just start right at the inner corner, and then I'm going to move out. And I don't even need to like dip this back in here. One application is usually good. There's like a ton of product on this. A little bit goes a long way. And I just go out and move right like towards the top of her cheeks. And if she didn't have any other makeup on, I'm not gonna like do full contour. I would do one swipe here, one on the nose. I do it around my nose. As women, we get redness around our nose. That's just like hormones. So I would put a little bit right here. And then if I always have breakouts, my worst breakouts are rose on my chin, so I'd probably dab, you know. But she already has the rest of her makeup on, so we're not gonna do that. Any questions as we're like doing this? You guys can like talk and, you know, if any thoughts.
I've always wondered when you do your makeup in your car if you're using a dry sponge. So do you just like wet it on your way out?
No, I wet out the door. Somebody asked me, Megan Gordon actually, she's like, how did you get your sponge wet? I have not though. I'm not that below though, like one time I was at a gas station and I like went inside and wet it underneath the sink, like wrapped it in paper towels, brought it out in the car. So, yeah, I'm not like.
Abby, have you tried the new have you tried the Shape Tape or the
Foundation? I have not
Have
yet.
you not?
I've heard good things though. So they have it like in matte and hydrate.
Oh,
Have you
like
tried
hydrate.
it?
I have not.
Has
No, because I would have to do the hydration because I noticed that
Yeah.
at 46 I have to be careful with the matte.
Definitely.
She's way
There
too
needs to be a
rose,
class for the gracefully mature people.
Me and you are going to do that next all stuff. That's what we're going to do.
All the age groups right here. So I'm gonna get about her. So I'm just gonna blend this out, and instead of like I've said this before, but don't swipe the makeup. You're gonna like just pull that makeup off. You really just want to press into her skin. It's kind of like you're making the skin absorb it, which is also why you need to remove your makeup at the end of the day because you've just put all this stuff in your face. So just dab that in. Look up for me.
Abby, do you wash your face with coconut oil?
I do not.
What do you use?
I do. I used to take off my eye makeup though with coconut oil and all that. Right now I'm using. It's called Oil Obsessed, which is funny because I am like oil obsessed. It's just a cleansing oil. So if you do have, no matter your skin, I recommend a cleansing oil to remove your makeup. And then for my face wash right now, I've been using, it's like the Peter Thomas Roth. It's the orange one. It's basically, it's just for anti-aging and like getting off dead skin, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's very true. I'm bad. I kind of hop around on face washes. If I use something and I love it, I kind of just want to. I'm like, well, this is great, but is there something else that's like better out there? So I can be bad about committing. Okay, so the last part. So look up for all of them. So we have her look straight on covered. Any sort of darkness that she has.
Beautiful.
And then I'm going to take a little. Okay, so this is the RCMA No Color Powder. It's really messy if you have black pants. Christian loves when I use this in the car. You use it and it's like a little cloud. So you can use any sort of no color powder. Hi ladies. This is my favorite because this whole bottle is only like $12 and it's awesome. That's really cheap for cosmetics right now. I do have another one. This is the Becca Under Eye Powder, but there's not as much in this, so I try to treat it a little bit like gold and not use it all the time. But I feel like this applies like just as good. So look up for me. I'm gonna try not to get this all over her sweater. So you guys all know about, I assume you know, I'm sorry. There's a trend called baking, and it's where you basically take a wet beauty blender. A wet beauty blender, you dip it into that, and then you set it on her eyes, and it sits there for a few minutes. And it actually, they say it literally, like the heat from your skin is baking that powder and making it stay. So I do like using that, but I have found that sometimes like in flash photography, you'll see like a white cast. And so I don't like doing that, especially if I'm using it like on a bride or something. I don't want her to look like this like ghost kind of raccoon look. It's weird. So what I'm doing even every day for myself, I'm just gonna go in with like a brush because it's not gonna be as harsh, but I do find that it still applies really well. So I'm just gonna pat that into her skin. And then whenever I go with my when I go back with my other powder like all over my face, I'll still kind of go under the eyes. But I've talked to a lot of ladies that say I do use powder under my eyes, but it's still really thick. But the problem is if you're using like your basic powder, sometimes that can even like double as foundation, and that's too thick for your under eyes. You just don't want to be putting really thick coverage under your eyes. I was talking to a girl who showed me her compact, and on the compact it said foundation powder, and I was like, well, that's the problem because this is a really thick powder. So you want to use something that basically has no color, it's translucent, and it's not gonna like crepe up and get real thick. So the next part, how are we doing on time? It's been 15 minutes and we've done one thing. Okay, well, do we have any other questions, or about to go into the next part? Any? No.
That was like a
She shook her
confirmation.
head.
Like, yeah, girl.
Okay, I'll do this one thing and then we can do the 5-minute. One little trick I found that's helpful. I know I talk to a lot of girls that get overwhelmed by eyeshadow. and I know it can be overwhelming, but there's so many like colors out there. There's so many colors out there, and it's just there's a lot of shimmers and there's mattes, whatever. So there's just a lot. But I wanted to teach you guys just a simple everyday thing you could do, and it's something I do most days. If I'm gonna be like on camera, I might do a little bit more, but I find that it really looks good in any circumstance. So what I'm gonna do is take, this is not a lot left. This is just a MAC shadow. It's called Malt, and it's really just a soft pink. So this color is gonna be good on Grace. And any of that kind of like light to medium skin tone. If you've got darker skin, you're gonna want to use something that's just a little bit darker or a little bit more just vibrant, so it'll show up. But for light to medium, this is gonna work. If I was using this on someone that was like really tan, it probably isn't gonna show up very well, or it's gonna look a little almost like chalky. So you want to kind of adjust to your skin tone. So I'm gonna do like just a 2-color look, and this is what I would do like every day. So take this light shadow. And also, I did link the brushes in that doc too. So this is just a little fluffy brush from Morphe. Close for me. We're just gonna go in like windshield wiper motions. Because it's really fluffy and it's not picking up a lot of product, it's not gonna look crazy because you literally don't have the ability to get a bunch. You know, like when you pick up a lot and then you've made a disaster. So it's really hard to mess up this because of the brush. So as you can see, I'm literally just doing like circles, rotating. I'm going to like the natural shape of her eye. I'm not going past her lash line. And I'm gonna not go as thick on the inner eye just to create some light here. Kind of move the darkest part to the outer side. That kind of is gonna open her eye up. And then just same on the other side. And sometimes if you have like hooded eyes or something, it might be better for you while you're doing it to almost like open your eye while you're doing it, because you know you can do it and then you look up and you're like, oh, I didn't know I pushed the shadow that high up. You know what I mean? Like it looks like you went all the way up to your brow bone. So sometimes it helps just to look while you're doing it. Any questions while we're doing this? So we're not going, you can tell, let me put it straight on. We're not going above her, like her crease. We're not going all the way to her brow bone. You see there's still like a strip of her skin. We're not going all the way up. And then I'm going to take just one that's a little bit shorter, not as wispy. And I'm going to take this darker pink color. This is called Hoax, I think. There's the other name. So it's just a tad darker. It's more mauve-y. You look straight on, and then I'm just gonna stay on the outer side. We're not gonna move in too much with this because it is darker. And then the furthest I might go in is like the center of her eye. Open for them. And if you ever feel like you get like a little heavy-handed, like, oh, that's a little much, you can always just take your brush, do it in like a rag or tissue, get it kind of clean, and then you can do with that first brush, do more motions, and you're just kind of buffing out that color. Your arm might get a little tired from blending, but that's probably a good sign.
I'm just not patient. Yeah. I'm gonna just be like,
you don't need to work out. Who needs to work out? Just blend some. So outer side. I'm gonna do this again. Not going too far, like past her. And then my favorite trick. Here's the thing, I love eyeliner. I have nothing against eyeliner, but if you're putting eyeliner on your bottom lash line, there's a good chance it's going to be a little harsh, and it can also make your eyes look smaller instead of bigger. So what you can do though is you can take just a darker shadow. This one's really not even like that dark. This is just a dark, kind of like a medium brown. I'm going to take this brush, it's like a lash definer brush. So look up, and I'm going to just stamp this on the outer corner in. And I'm not going to take it all the way in because it's going to just close her eyes. So stop about like midway through. And this is around the time would be a good place to add in like a little bit of a, if you want to go crazy, add a little bit of shimmer in the inner corner. That's just going to brighten that space a little bit for her. So you can do a black shadow. You could do a brown shadow, you could do whatever. Sometimes I just take the darkest color that I've done on the outer and then moved it to the inside. But just to show you guys so you can see, I'm taking this darker one. So what I think this does is you don't get as harsh of a line as you would with eyeliner, but you still get that color. And that color that's a really flattering color for blue eyes too, and so it's gonna just make your eyes stand out better. And then the part that's most uncomfortable for people when they're like, oh, I hate this, and I hate doing it, but look straight on for them. I'm gonna take one of the little short guys and look up, and we're just gonna like buff that line out. I know it can be scary to like put shadow under there, especially if you've just done like your under eye concealer. What I would advise, if you feel like it's a really dark shadow or it has a lot of fallout, take like a little tissue, just fold it, and then just set it. I'll do that sometimes on my brides if like we really don't have time for me to like mess this up and dust a bunch of black shadow on your face. So if you want, you can take, some people, I've seen them take like a business card and they just kind of like hide that and then do it. So there's that. You guys try it. You should mess with your makeup, try it out, and like, use all the stuff that you have. I don't always like say that you have to go out and buy all new stuff. Just see what you have before you take a big trip to Ulta. So, any questions? Any questions about this part? Anything? Okay. So for the ones that came in a little bit later, me and Grace were gonna do a little 5-minute makeup competition and just show you how we would do our makeup in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you guys want to do it? Okay.
Yeah, girls.
The makeup mirror.
Do what?
Honestly,
The ones you guys can share.
take it off right now. If you tell me
You can use it if you want.
for it now, I'm like,
Should I do a 5-minute
Okay, I got yours. Well, you can.
That would be really impressive.
We only had one,
Honestly.
sorry. But if you want, you could use your compact or whatever that have mirrors I have. Oh, here, use this.
Is the mirror on both sides, or is one like
One's
probably
in
more
there. You want to use
magnified.
this?
Yeah.
This is a big mirror.
Abby, when you wash your face at night, do you
Okay.
use a makeup wipe first and then
I
wash your
don't.
face?
I
You
don't. And
just-
honestly,
okay.
the only reason I don't use a makeup wipe is for economic reasons. I feel like they're really expensive. So I just don't do them because I would buy them like every 3 weeks. So we're gonna literally. Okay, I think we made a rule though. We weren't gonna take off our brows.
Yeah.
Only because we just didn't want to take off our brows. I will show you what we do. in
That's
a
5 minutes in itself.
So we're literally just gonna hang on. Yeah, so I really like if you do want to buy a product.
I know, right?
This is vulnerable right now. I just want to say that. Hi, Neil.
We're getting vulnerable in here.
Neil, you gotta
Neil.
join the competition.
Okay. So, I do love makeup wipes, man. They're so fast. So, one thing I do like though that's a product for actually like removing makeup. You guys, yes, girl. Pond's. I'm not taking my mascara off though. I mean, I will apply more, but it's gonna be messy. Pond's. You guys remember Pond's?
Yes.
I love that eye cream for taking off my eye makeup. It's so easy, and really just using a good eye makeup removal will keep you from removing all your lashes on accident, which is a really sad, very sad day when that happens. Well, I'm almost ready, and I'm looking rough, so let's do this.
Oh, do you use primers? Did you say that?
Yes.
You do use primers?
Like right now, are we using primers?
No, like just in general.
Yes. Yes. So I really like primers. Today, because we are up to 5 minutes, I'm probably just going to use like a moisturizer. You're welcome to use one. You're welcome to use some. This is going to be intense, but I will tell you, I've already decided, I'm like, okay, when I have a short time schedule in the morning, probably when I'm a young mother, what am I going to do? People have asked me, what are you going to do? And I'm like, why are you asking me? I don't know what I'm going to do. How are you going to make it? I'm like, I'll be fine. So much faith in me. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, yeah.
Come on.
Ready?
Wait, no. I need a second to. You want to set up?
Yeah, I gotta set up shop.
Okay, so Katie's gonna be helpful.
5 minutes includes unzipping your bag.
No.
Stand up like you're.
Katie gets sassy sometimes.
Wait, who actually does the makeup every day in about 5 minutes?
That's what
In the car. Yes. You would probably be at home.
All the assistants just raise their hands.
If I do
Just
it,
it's like a
it
regular
takes
day,
5
I'd probably say 15 minutes.
It takes me 15 minutes.
I'd say. But like sometimes we're going slow and we're just like not in a rush. So I don't know.
I'm not gonna say I'm doing it because I have my own.
I need help.
Okay, well, I'm more of a beginner, so y'all.
No, that's
if you're,
not
like,
true. Grace,
On beginner
Grace
level.
and I do a lot of weddings together,
Watch.
and this. Do you guys?
But
should
I
know
like
this.
put the lashes on and like give them like a quick.
Whatever, Grace. Also, Grace is the best lash applicator you've ever met.
Yeah, Grace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have her do lashes for my clients. I'm like,
Okay, ready?
wait. Are you ready?
Oh, we're getting down.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I think I'm ready.
Y'all like talking stuff because like.
Oh well, this is Katie's the entertainment.
Yeah.
Go, Katie.
Okay.
What's the
Hold on.
We can play a song.
Ready?
Yes.
Set. Play a song.
Commentators.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we need some commentators.
DJ.
Abby's about to apply something, you know.
Okay.
Something.
Okay, what song do we have? What motivates you?
Justin
Like
Timberlake
more like a girl
generally.
power song.
Demi Lovato, girl.
Yeah, like
Something
something like.
Yeah, you said that'll be fast.
Something good.
Ready?
Pull out something good.
Say
Debbie.
what I come up with.
I
don't know. Go.
Go,
Okay, so I'm not gonna, since I don't want to waste time with primer, and because I still need to moisturize my skin, I'm just gonna use moisturizer instead of primer.
I'm stealing her stuff.
This is Josie Moran. Pure argan milk.
Okay, hold on.
Intensive hydrating treatment. Grace, what are you doing? Calm water gel all over your
She just
face.
recommended.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, since
Oh wait, do you want to play her?
since the powder I have actually has a good amount of coverage, I'm not going to use foundation. I'm actually just gonna do concealer and powder.
Yeah.
Oh no, do you need to dampen your beauty blender?
I don't use a beauty blender.
Well, you guys will get to see this in action, what she uses.
Which one?
It's great.
Oh,
Okay.
like I played it.
So I
Is
use
this all your makeup, Grace? You're using your makeup and I was using hers?
Oh gosh, where'd it go? Okay. We got Shape Tape.
So y'all have the same
Oh
concealer?
yeah.
Here, I'm gonna
Tarte is the only way.
Take your thing.
Yeah.
I use a.
It shows how you do it.
But it goes a lot.
But like, it's like paste.
Beauty blender. Oh, that goes
Right,
faster?
we don't want it.
Yeah. Use it. Oh gosh, I'm messing up all my mascara.
It did smooth in really fast. And Abby's still dabbing away.
But Grace is not a swipe girl.
I know, me too. Every time I watch Abby do her makeup, I think,
I did this wrong.
I would never think to use that finger.
No, when I do my makeup in front of them, there's always someone that looks at me and they're like,
Okay,
wait, what are you doing?
3 minutes. We spent 3 minutes on our face. Okay.
Yeah, you spent 2 minutes.
I think for amateurs, the brush is much easier.
Yeah, what
Because when Grace tries to show me things, those spongy things,
I'm an
I can't control that. I can't control the
I
brush
did not ever
somewhat.
know you were supposed to wet them. I've
It's
never,
really good.
never wet mine once.
Abby, what are you putting on?
Okay, so I felt like I didn't have enough coverage because my skin was breaking out, so I just took a little bit of foundation after I did all that, just to fill in any spots that I felt like weren't covered.
What was that, Grace?
Now I'm using some.
You know what's funny? Sometimes when I watch Abby's videos, I think she's got it sped up because of how fast she like does this. But
Yeah,
I'm
she's
realizing that is not like that is not a time lapse
Yeah.
video.
So I'm gonna do that same powder, and I'm gonna put it in all the oily spots. Also, I don't know about you guys, but I have a hard time blending out my bronzer if I don't have like something. It's
No, Grace.
See, oh,
You
no,
can't
Grace
jam.
has time to
Ask
dance.
me when I'm not
You can't
being
play Taylor
fun.
Swift in the background.
What bronzer are you using?
Yeah, what bronzer was that? Milani, 1 minute 45 seconds.
Are you serious? Okay.
1:45.
Grace, we're about to like fail this. Taking bronzer.
Okay, and I kind of like went really fast, like it kind of like.
No, it still looks good.
Yeah, doing great.
Love it. Abby's been in the zone ever since we started.
Okay, I'm just like
Because
trying to
I-
come up with things.
Because I love blush, I'm gonna go with blush. And if I'm heavy-handed like I normally am,
Okay.
3 minutes.
My eyebrows weren't done and I was trying to do something fast. I would just use this little guy. It's basically just like a mascara brow brush. So you don't have to fill your brows in, but you just like
What brand
quickly
is
swipe
that,
it. This is another drugstore.
Come on.
NYX.
NYX. Yes. I love them. Because that whole brow routine I'm not going to do, and she introduced me to that, and that's just like
And
seconds.
then, if I want to do like a quick little eyeshadow look, usually I just find a fluffy brush and just
45
take
seconds.
some of my bronzer.
okay, you have 45 seconds.
I'll just take some of my bronzer and put it in the crease
Well, obviously.
to just give it a little bit of
Good to know.
I'm gonna spray.
Okay.
And then
Killing it.
I'll use some blush, which is also
this like a
drugstore.
Melania kind of thing?
Wait, Melania's a drugstore?
Uh-huh.
So your
Yeah.
bronzer was
It's like-
drugstore?
Uh-huh.
Which one?
They have it at Ulta now.
Really?
Look at my lip color now.
Ooh, and you keep doing this?
Yes. Okay, I'm taking Velvet Teddy.
Put on some mascara.
Velvet Teddy is so
15
good.
seconds!
Okay.
Oh, also recommend some lash boost because now my lashes are very long, so I don't have to do that very twice.
She got Lash Boost for Christmas, and y'all, it works.
Really?
It is
Yeah.
an investment, Katie. We all, y'all,
No.
it's an investment, but it works. Big time.
You look
impressive.
pretty- I don't know. This I can't.
You look great.
Grace, don't you put mascara on?
I told her she didn't take it off. I told her not to take it off.
But I added some more. So,
Good job, you guys.
That's
That was
all.
helpful. I forgot to put on some highlighter. Usually I'd put on some
I
highlighter.
grabbed it from you while you were talking. This is and I'll link this one too. I think I already did. This is a good highlighter brush.
You always use them.
Yeah, I can show you guys. Here, I'll help you.
Okay.
It's like so easy to apply. A lot of people ask me what kind of brushes. They can get really like intimidated by which brush. With highlight, you just don't want to use, basically the worst thing you could do is use something like this. It's really thick, and so think about if we dabbed that, it would just be like a big swipe on her cheek. So you want to do something that's like these. I think
I'm
this
using
is
the
like
wrong
a
brush.
good.
Oh, every time. Hey, you should do a brush tutorial at some point for people who basically use like the wrong brush.
Yeah. Like, oh, yeah. I'm sure I look white.
How to clean my brushes?
Oh,
okay. Cleaning brushes, you really don't.
About that.
So what I do is I just go over to my sink. I take a little bowl. I put in some Dawn soap, and you want to use something. Honestly, the like generic does not work as good, and I hate saying that, but it doesn't. So Dawn, and the reason you want to use Dawn is because it gets grease out,
Okay.
and that's sadly what's in a lot of like your brushes. You know what I mean? So what I do is you never want to take soap and do it in there. You want to take it on your hand or on the plate, and you want to lightly swirl it, and have like warm running water, and then I'm gonna basically do it in the palm of my hand too, like kind of swirl it around.
So that's soap and water, or just the soap?
You're gonna just dab it in the soap first, and then
Okay.
you're gonna take let the water run over your hand, and you're just gonna like swipe it. You don't want to do this because if you it's gonna be really hard to get stuff out if it gets deep in there. And if you guys have done that on accident, you know it's like you get in there and they're like bubbles, like you just can't get them out. So that's why if you do it like this and then swirl, and then you'll just do it till the water runs clear. And I do that with my thickest one. Sometimes these might take like a night, longer than a night to dry out, but just let them dry. And things like this, these will take like no time at all. You can just take a little bit and it'll dry within a couple.
Wait, see how often you clean your brushes?
I probably do mine about every like week and a half, 2 weeks, just depending on like. Sometimes if I'm just really on the go and things can get nasty and things can get built up. And then there are some brushes that these aren't gonna, for me, they're not gonna work as well if they're all like full of, you know what I mean, full of other colors or dark colors, you know. So.
Is that how you would brush or wash the type of brush that Grace uses for
Yeah,
foundation?
which one were you using? Yeah, actually, because this is so dense, I would be really careful about not getting too much soap in there.
Okay.
Obviously, you're gonna be tempted to because there's foundation like really in there. But I would press it into my hand and just into the soap,
Okay.
and then water.
All right.
What about alcohol? I've heard you use that before on the brushes.
You can, but alcohol can like dry out your brushes. You know, it's just like if you were to put alcohol on your skin. Like I know sometimes if you, like I've had a really bad zit or something, I've tried to like kind of disinfect it with alcohol. You'll notice the next day it's kind of dry. So it's just really harsh. It will probably get the job done. It's just harsh. So you just have to weigh, you know, at what expense.
Well, that was amazing, Abby. Have to go.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.